Hi Harvey, Ms. Gonzalez back. So today we're going to be talking about how do we divide decimals. The other day we looked at how we multiply decimals, so today we're going to be dividing decimals. So go ahead and draw in your lines so that we can take Cornell notes. And then your title is How Do I Divide Decimals? Okay, so we're going to get some terms down first of all. So let's talk about dividend. And these are not new terms. These are terms that you have heard of before. We just need a quick reminder about them. Your dividend, that is the amount that you want to divide up. To divide up. Okay, that's your dividend. Then you have your divisor, right? So, and then we're going to take a look at how they're set up so that you guys know which is which, because you guys do get that mixed up. So we'll make sure that you know the which one is which there. Okay, so your divisor, that's the number you divide by. And I'm just going to use pound sign or hashtag that you guys refer to, but it means number. The number you divide by. And then you have your quotient. What's a quotient? Because you guys should be able to tell me what that is. The quotient is what? Your answer, right? It's the answer to a division problem. That one you guys always get. It's the dividend and the divisor that you guys get mixed up. So we just need to get a little bit of review on there. Okay, so there's three different ways that you can see or set up a division problem. The most common way that you guys have seen is when you've seen it like this. You have your dividend, and then your divisors out here, because that's the number you're going to divide by, right? And then your answer, your quotient, is it's what's left on top, right? Okay, so that's how you typically see a division problem. Another way is when it's set up like a fraction, right? So you have your dividend divided by your divisor. Sorry guys, I misspelled that. Okay, and then that's equal to your quotient. Right? Alright, so that's, and just so that we can distinguish the three different ones, that's one way, that's another way, and the last one is when you have your dividend divided by your divisor. That's the third way. Remember the story I told you guys on how to remember, so that you can remember how to set this one up so that you can divide. The cowboy leads the horse to the pail of water. So this is the cowboy, he goes inside the house, or I mean the rider leads the horse to the pail of water. So if this is the rider, he's leading the horse to the pail of water. So if you remember that story, that will help you with that. Okay, so now we have some terms down. We know what's what there, right? So now we're going to take a look at our steps on how we would divide decimals. So let's move this up some. Alright, so there's some steps involved, just like when we multiplied decimals, we have steps to divide. Steps to divide decimals. Alright, so step one. your divisor has to be a whole number. So if the divisor isn't a whole number, you're going to have to move the decimal to the right until it's a whole number. So we will the divisor must be a whole number. If not, move the decimal to the right until it's a whole number. And we'll take a look at what that looks like in a moment, because some of you guys might be wondering, well, what does she mean by that? So we'll take a look at some examples, of course, after we finish up our steps. Okay, so we have to make the divisor look like a whole number, and the way we do that, we move the decimal to the right, how many ever places to the right, it's until it is a whole number. Alright, so step 2. This is what you do to the divisor you do the same to the dividend. Alright, so just kind of want these to stand out. I love my clouds because it makes them stand out. Okay, so whatever you do to the dividend, you're going to have to do the same thing to the, to the divisor. You must do the same thing to the dividend as well. So, and then step 3, rewrite the problem. Okay. Sorry, that was a commercial on Pandora. Okay, so step 3, you're going to rewrite the problem. If the dividend has a decimal, move it straight up. To the, oh, I'm so sorry guys, I didn't even realize that wasn't showing. Okay, so let me give you guys a chance to get that copied down, and I'm going to move that up again. So, okay, so step 3, you're going to rewrite the problem. If the dividend has a decimal, then you move it straight up to the quotient. Okay, so we're going to look at some examples. Oh, and then you just divide like normal. Let's make that the 4th step. Divide like normal. Alright, so let's take a look at an example. So we'll take a look at an example with it. Let's do this one. With it set up that way. Okay, so first we need to set up to how we can divide it out, right? So that we can see, because right now when it's set up this way, you have to think about, okay, which one's the dividend, which one's the divisor. But if I remember that story about the rider and the horse, the rider leads the horse to the pail of water. Well, if this is a rider and he's leading the horse, we know the rider goes inside the house and the horse obviously goes on the outside. Okay, so I have my problem set up, right? So now that my problem's set up, then I can do what step 1 says. So the divisor must be a whole number. Here's my divisor. It's not a whole number, right? So I'm going to have to move the decimal to the right until it's a whole number. Well, fortunately for us, we only have to move it one place to the right. Step 2 says what you do to the divisor, you do the same to the dividend. Well, the only thing we did to the divisor, we moved the decimal one place to the right. So I have to do the same thing to the dividend as well. So since this one has a decimal here, I have to move it one place to the right. Remember, since I only moved it in the divisor, I only moved the decimal one place to the right. I only need to move it one place over to the right in the dividend. So we've done that. So then step 3 says you're going to rewrite the problem, and I like to rewrite it so that way it doesn't throw you off with here with the decimals being in this spot and then it's over here, because you guys make that careless mistake. So I would rewrite the problem. So now I have 82 and 8/10 divided by 18. There's your new problem. And then we rewrote it, and if your dividend has a decimal in it, you're going to move it straight up into the quotient. Well, my dividend does happen to have a decimal, so I'm just going to move it straight up. So it goes up there. And then you just divide like normal. So take a look here. How many times can 18 go into 82? Well, 18 happens to go into 82 4 times. And 18 times 4, that's 72. And that's, you subtract that, that's 10. Then you're going to bring down your 8. And 18 times 6 is 108. And it's going to zero out right there. So my answer is 4 6/10. That is my quotient. Let me move these papers out from here. Okay, so we just divided it. You know, once we moved the decimals, we took care of those decimals and put in the place where they needed to be. And all there is to do is to divide it like normal. Okay, so we need to take a couple more examples. So we saw an example when the division problem is set up this way. Now we're going to look at the way it's done when it's, let's see, we'll look at one. I'm going to go to the next page, guys, because I am out of room there. And then I'm going to draw in, and actually I'm going to, because you can see that on that side, draw in your Cornell notes, or your lines for your Cornell notes. Okay, so if I take a look at, let's do, here's example 2. 1 95/100 divided by 2 23/100. Okay, so this is where you can T-bow this one. Remember the way T-bow works? Top in, bottom out, or if you remember the horse and rider story, the rider goes inside the house, the horse goes on the outside. So either one will work, however you remember it. So I'm going to write down my problem first. Alright, so step 1 says your divisor has to be a whole number. My divisor is not a whole number, so I need to make it a whole number. So I need to move the decimal to the right until it's a whole number. Well, in this one, I need to move my decimal 2 places to the right to make it a whole number. Since I did that to the divisor, in step 2 says you have to do the same thing. What we did to the divisor, we'll do that to the dividend as well. So this decimal has to move 2 places to the right, and it ends up there. So now I'm going to rewrite it. And then if I have a decimal in the quotient, Do I have to put the decimal if it ends up at the end and there's nothing behind it? No, we don't. We can just leave it that way. We don't have to put it on there. So this becomes 195 divided by 223. Well, 223 can't go into 195, can it? Okay, so we're going to have to place a 0, and we're going to add a decimal, and then we're going to go ahead and bring down an imaginary 0. Well, now I can divide this out. We know that 223 can go into 1,950, and for the sake of time, it happens to go in there 8 times. 223 times 8 is 1,784. Then I need to subtract that. I can't subtract 8 from 4, so I'm going to have to borrow 1 from here. And then 14 minus 8, that is 6. 8 minus 7, that is 1. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and bring down another 0. And 223 goes into, oops, dropped my picture frame there. It goes into 1660. And I'm going to say it goes in there 7 times. Let me just make sure. Yes, it's 7 times. Alright, so 223 times 7, and you guys would normally just go up to the right or somewhere on the side of your paper and multiply that out. So we want to go ahead and save some time. That is 1,561. Oops, we're not adding, we're subtracting. Okay, so then we subtract this out. We're going to have to borrow 1 from there. 10 minus 1, that's 9. We borrow 1 from there, and that's 9. Well, we can take it one place over. I mean, we can go ahead and bring down another 0. Just take it to the thousands place. And 223 will go into 990. 4 times, will it? 223 times 4. Yep, 4 times. And we're actually going to stop there. This is not going to zero out. It's going to just keep going on. It's going to be a different number. It'll just keep going. So you can go ahead and subtract this if you like, or you can just stop there. So that would actually just be 8. So we're going to stop there. Taking your answer to the thousands place is fine. Sometimes they'll tell you just to take it to the hundreds place, so just be mindful of that. So your answer here would just be 874 thousandths. Okay, so that's that example. Let's look at one when it's set up. We've done one example. No, this is example 3. Okay, so if we take 328 and divide it by 4/10. So we've done it that way. Oh, the regular way. So we'll just do this one will be easy. 328 divided by 4/10. So this is how we normally divide, right? We have a decimal here. My divisor needs to be a whole number, so I just move it one place to the right. Well, I don't see a decimal in 328, so how can I move a decimal if it's not there? Where's the decimal in a whole number? Anybody tell me? You guys remember? The decimal is a whole number. If you think of it as money, this is 328, right? Where would the decimal be if that's $328? It would be here, right? Okay, so we do have a decimal. We just don't have to have it displayed whenever we have a whole number. So since we move this decimal one place to the right to make it a whole number in the divisor, and the dividend, what you're going to do, you're going to move it one place over to the right. Well, that looks funny, doesn't it? What do we do here? What do we do to fill that gap? Thank you. You put a 0. So a 0 is going to go there. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my new problem so I can work with it. So we have 3,280 divided by 4. Do I have to have that 0 in front of the 4? No, it's just a placeholder now, right? So we don't need to place it there. So now we just divide it like normal. 4 can't go into 3, but 4 does go into 32. It goes into 32 8 times. Bring down your 8. 4 goes into 8 beautifully, evenly, 2 times, right? So I'm going to bring down to 0. And can 4 go into 0? No. So 3,280 divided by 4 is 820. And done. Alright, so we are going to do some practice problems here in a moment. So hopefully you guys understood this lesson. I would like for you guys to, of course, write your reflection at the bottom. Today I learned. Make sure that you guys use your vocab words from today. Don't just say today I learned how to divide decimals. I need you to be more specific. So today I learned, and finish that statement off. Or you. Okay, so commercial came on. I won't be using Pandora anymore since they do that. Okay, so today I learned, or I'm still confused. And remember, be specific on what you learned using your vocab, or what you're still confused about. You may just be confused about a certain step, but be sure to let me know that. All right, thank you.